The 9-mile-long Crinan Canal was built between 1793 and 1801 and provides a navigable route between the Firth of Clyde and the Inner Hebrides, avoiding the longer run around Kintyre Peninsula and the exposed and current-swept Mull of Kintyre. Originally built for commercial vessels, the canal today is mostly used by pleasure craft, with about 2,000 making the transit annually. This video shows Nordhavn 52 Dirona making a 3-night pass through the canal, starting at the village of Ardrishaig in the south and ending at Crinan in the north. The canal feels very tight for Dirona. As we pass from the sea lock through Ardrishaig Basin, you can see one of the canal staff pulling the blue boat on our left closer to the wall to give us more space. The sea locks and all bridges are operated by the canal staff, but all the inland locks are operated manually by crew of the boats passing through. Sometimes canal staff, locals, or others passing by will help. Once the boat is in the locks, crew need to close the rear gate, wind down the rear sluice, then wind up the front sluice, and when the lock has the right level, open the gate for the boat to leave. At Lock 2, our first interior lock, we had help from a local and the crew of another boat. We managed Lock 3 by ourselves. James stayed on the boat to handle the lines and keep the boat in position, while Jennifer went ashore to run the gates and sluices. Scottish canal staff are on hand at Lock 4 to open and close the bridge there, so they operated the gates and sluices and Jennifer could stay on board to handle the lines. We're now 32 feet above sea level and have cleared our final lock for the day. We really enjoyed the transit through the canal. The scenery was beautiful, and it was a real adventure to be running through such a narrow and shallow channel. We often saw depths in the 8-foot range and occasionally in the 7-foot range. Here we're passing through Oakfield Bridge, our final bridge for the day. The canal transit fleet includes 4 nights moorage within the canal in basins at either end or at several transit jetties along the way. We stopped for the night at a transit jetty just before Lock 5 and had a relaxing pint at the aptly named Bar Lock 5 with Dirona just visible in the distance behind us. On our second day in the canal, we planned to pass through 10 interior locks, numbers 5 through 14, and spend the night at Crinan. When the boats on the jetty in front of us left, we moved up closer to be next in line for Lock 5. As at Lock 4, canal staff were on hand to operate the bridge and helped with the gate and sluices so Jennifer could stay on board to handle the lines. Here we're passing through Lock 6, which we managed by ourselves. We're not sure what the red boat outside the locks was planning. Perhaps they intended to raft against the other boat while we passed, and changed their minds. The morning's nice weather has turned to steady rain as we pass through Lock 7. The gates can be a little difficult to get moving, but move reasonably well once started. A local, Tom, helped us through Locks 7 and 8. He'd also been there when Nordhavn 57 Jura and Nordhavn 55 Odyssey passed through earlier this summer. 3 has got to be a record for Nordhavn's passing through the canal in one season. We've now passed through 4 of the 10 locks for the day and are at 64 feet above sea level, the highest point in the canal. For the rest of the locks, we'll be locking downward. This is a little easier as the lock is less turbulent when draining than filling. We stopped at a transit jetty above Lock 9 while some other boats passed through. In addition to the heavy rain, we now have strong and gusty winds to contend with for the next flight of 5 locks. The high winds are making boat maneuvering a little more challenging. If you look carefully, you can see the blue boat in the locks ahead of us become wedged diagonally as they exit the lock. Behind us, strong wind gusts can be seen blowing across the passing basin. Jennifer is visible on the right walking ahead as we pass between locks 10 and 11. For this flight of 5 locks that are close together, we found it easier for Jennifer to stay ashore for the full flight and walk between the locks to handle the gates and sluices, while James single-handed the boat in and out of the narrow locks. Someone joked that when locking through with 2 people, you have the choice of 2 jobs: work your butt off or be scared to death. We're finally through lock 13, the last in the flight of 5. Jennifer stayed behind to close the gate for a boat coming in behind us, then caught up to James and Dirona on a transit jetty just beyond the lock. We were planning to run all the way to Crinan today and spend the night there, but we couldn't resist this beautiful single boat mooring, and the canal has been such an enjoyable and unique experience that we didn't want to rush through. We almost didn't stop because the dock is small with only a single cleat. Then we noticed two strong cleats mounted on shore that would work perfectly. Gordon and Margaret Turner, owners of Nordhavn 63 due north, live nearby and stopped by to say hello with Gordon's brother Alan and his wife Pauline. Gordon and Margaret have boated in the area for years and have given us lots of pointers on places to go and lent us some of the best cruising guides for the area. It was a fun visit. Despite the shallowness and the maximum 4-knot speed limit, we'd so far had no trouble navigating the canal. Dirona is perfectly happy at 3 to 4 knots, and we had no current to contend with. But this last section of the canal, between Bellanoch Marina and Crinan, is especially narrow and shallow and caused a surprisingly noticeable handling issue that we thought at first was a steering problem. We've read of the bank effect in the past. This is the tendency for a ship's stern to be pulled toward the nearest bank due to pressure differentials, Bernoulli's principle. This effect is important for commercial pilots to monitor when operating in narrow waterways. We've never felt the effect before and assumed it applied only to large ships in narrow channels. But the water displaced by Dirona is a large percent of the Crinan Canal, and it leads to weird handling at times. If you drift 2 to 3 feet over towards one bank, the stern will pull toward it and the bow will veer off, heading the boat over to the opposite bank. We moored for the night at Crinan at the north end of the canal. Moorage along the canal generally is on a first-come, first-served basis, but the Crinan Canal staff will monitor the progress of larger vessels to help ensure a smooth transit. The Crinan bridge operator had called ahead to Crinan to let them know we were coming, and a berth was waiting for us above Lock 14. The next morning we passed through locks 14 and 15 to exit the canal. These last two locks are easier for us and much faster than the inner locks, because the Crinan Canal staff control the gates and sluices hydraulically. For the only time on the canal, we shared a lock with another boat, Chili Patty, that we last saw at Loch Swilly Marina when we made our day trip to Northern Ireland. We'd had a wonderful 4 days on the Crinan Canal and really enjoyed the unique experience. We're already looking forward to transiting the Caledonian Canal later this year.